I'm Kylie,
And I'm Caitlin.
and we're coming to you live straight from the Hive. So, we just want to start by giving a big thank you to everyone who's watched our first couple of episodes. We're definitely, I would say, like finding our groove now. We're back from a small break due to some technical difficulties. As you'll see, we have some new equipment, so hopefully the sound and quality will be much more consistent moving forward, and we won't have to take any breaks. And then we also just want to thank everyone for the feedback we've been getting so far on the content, the look, the feel, everything. So again, just thank you for helping us just build this up as we get used to podcasting now. And thank you to everyone who gave us questions on things they want to hear. And we'll definitely be answering some of those moving forward. So stick around to the end of the show to start hearing the questions you guys asked.
Yeah, and I think just to spin off of that, if you have questions, of course, we'll do engaging stories and we'll be asking and trying to get you involved in this podcast as well because you, our audience, are who we're doing it for. So if we don't, or if you don't have an opportunity to submit a question via stories, feel free to drop a comment on one of our YouTube videos or on a reel that we're posting on Instagram. We love to hear it. I wanted to intro a little bit about what we'll be talking about today. So, one of the pieces of feedback or a question that we got was, okay, I have a business and I want to start marketing, but one, I don't know where to start. Two, I don't know how to do it on my own. What are my options? What should I be prioritizing? And we're going to cover that today.
Perfect. So, Caitlin, if you were to start your own business, as you have some experience in, what are the things you would prioritize in terms of marketing?
So, what I would prioritize are positioning, and that's not a very familiar word. So, we'll do a deeper dive on that. Email, social media, and paid ads for sure. So, to get started
Yeah.
with positioning, what we call positioning really is the articulation of your strategy. So, it really is, who you are, why you matter, and what purpose are you serving in the marketplace. And when we do positioning just on a broader scale, that means really like your messaging as well. So, what this messaging implies is your purpose, your vision, your mission, value proposition, key messages, differentiator, and the branding pieces. Like, what's your business's personality? How are you writing copy? What is your brand driver as well? Honestly, I could go on and on about this, but what your positioning and your messaging does is it really sets the foundation for all messaging for your company. What is that? Email copy, website copies, social media captions, advertisements as well. And the reason you want to have one singular document is because you need your messaging to be consistent. If I'm talking about Honey and Hive one way, like, oh, we're a design company, and then Kylie is saying, no, we're a small business marketing, no one's ever gonna know who we are or what we do. So when you go through a positioning exercise and you end up with a messaging guideline, and we've done this for a couple of our clients, and it's a really great exercise for companies to do, they just are all on the same page. So, opportunity to hash out what are the priorities, what is your strategy, and making sure then once you have that final messaging guideline, infiltrate it into every single piece of content that you have. Update your assets, update your website, emails, everything. And then going to the next point on what you really should prioritize, social media.
So, as we all know, everyone's on social media. And I think in terms of building a business and getting that on social media, there's a few reasons why this would be such a huge priority, especially getting started. I would say brand awareness is a huge one, like building your digital footprint. And then, as well as engaging with and converting both future and current customers, because I think we see it in Honey and Hive, and we'll see it with a lot of customers, businesses, that social media is a huge referral source for going to your website and filling out a form to get your service or buying your products. So, in addition to those big search engines like Google and then Yelp and things like that, social media is also a place people are going to find new products, find new services, look into the comments, get that social proof that if you go on and see a million people are complaining about the product, that's a huge red flag. So it's a great way to check out companies, get a bit about their reputation all in one glance. And as Caitlin was speaking to positioning, this is where You'll need all of that groundwork so that your captions and your stories and everything is very consistent with your brand image. All of your branding is there as well. So you'll see a consistent color scheme, consistent elements, images, and just obviously, not everyone's going to have the most aesthetically mirrored feed, but there should be a sense of who your brand is, what your values are, and why you're on there in the first place, and what kind of customers you're trying to attract.
If I can add, I think that social media for us especially has been one of our best referral tools
Mhm.
too. So when people come to us and they ask us, "Hey, how are you finding clients?" Because that's in a service-based business, you need clients in order to survive. And really, it hasn't been really necessarily us posting on our account and clients finding us. That has definitely happened before, but really the benefit is us sharing our business's account to our personal account and then our personal network following that account. So then when someone pops into their mind of, oh, I know someone who needs that's helpful. Or if you have a catering business or if you have a car wash business or something, it doesn't have to be specific to marketing. It can be any given service, product, offering completely. But if you're not sharing it with your personal network, then it's almost doing a disservice to you. So that aspect, brand awareness, absolutely amazing. And then also adding in your personal network too.
Mhm. So, in addition to utilizing both your personal and business's network that you're building up to follow you on social media, engage there, you can also point these people to subscribe to your email list. So, Caitlin, can you talk a little bit more about the importance of building up that list?
Yes. So next, we're going to talk a little bit about paid ads. And so I have a point here, I promise. So, paid ads, paid media, you put money out there, you bring people to you. Your email list, however, you will always own. No one else is responsible for that. You grow it, it's in your back pocket. If you were to stop your business right here, right now, and do another venture, you fully own all of those emails. It's part of it comes with you as a person and as a business owner, as opposed to the territory, if that makes sense. So emails are extremely valuable because someone actually chose to interact with your brand. And there's a lot of ways you can build up your email list. How we did it is we actually started, and we mentioned this in episode one, if you caught it, we started a clothing business for our side gig. And so a lot of our friends and families, and even for people we didn't really know, they had put their email in order to make this purchase. And so that helped us build our email list. But again, as we were sharing our content on social media, we actually people put their email in. But something else we did and that is really beneficial is something called gated content. So what you would do basically is create a very valuable piece of content. For us, we created resources and such, and then we put it on our website and people put in their email address in order to download that piece of information. So those people weren't necessarily from our normal network or friends and family. Those were just small business owners or fellow marketers as well that were looking to utilize us as a resource. And then again, what we do with that email list now is we send out updates from our business on a monthly basis. We are going to start sending when the podcast goes live as well, or any announcements that we have. And the purpose of that is solely just to keep people top of mind with I'd love to hear your opinion too on like how you've used emails, what's the benefit like with your clients, but even for my clients too, you can connect different services like Shopify. For a physical therapy client, we can connect to the patient database and get all updated information and things like that. So we're just again top of mind for one of my clients that is a luxury home goods store. We're sending new products. We're just getting things in front of people. That's really what it's about. Getting your information in front of an audience that has already opted to sign up with you does wonders. It's amazing.
I think it's also a way to just retain them and make them feel special. For one of my clients, that's an event rental service. We send out exclusive offers and resources to our email list only that doesn't go on social media
Nice.
or the
Yeah.
website where just anyone can see it. So just making them feel extra confirmed that buying your products or services and being a part of this list like really paid off for them by
Mhm.
giving them those little bonus goodies like monthly or however so often.
Yeah, that's a great point, and just shows all the multitude of ways that you can use your personal email list. So I touched on paid ads as well. Different emails is really your earned media, your owned media. You want to talk a little bit about the paid media side?
Yep. So as Caitlin kind of introed it, paid ads are totally pay to play. So you do have to invest a little extra here, but these are the way you're going to get those people who aren't in your network. So obviously, especially we've benefited a lot from our personal networks, but that's not going to be the case in every business. And even in our own, we're looking for ways to expand out of that because you only know so many people. So at a certain point, we have to step beyond our
300
bubble.
followers. Yeah, we love you all, but
Yes.
we gotta expand that
You
reach.
gotta jump out of the nest at
Yeah.
some point, right? So using paid ads, and obvious there's a multitude of different platforms. You can do social media ads, like Facebook ads are super known by people, and then go into search engine ads, more of the Google ads. Yelp has always been a gray area to us, somewhere in between the two. But on all these different platforms and on all of these different platforms, no matter how different they all are allowing you to target a certain audience. So that's where you can put in those qualities that sort of shape your preferred consumer. If it's a pool cleaning company, we're looking for homeowners, we're looking for families, people interested in the outdoors, even. Like you can get very granular and you can also just sit and think about what the kind of person who is interested in your service would also be interested about that's not directly pool cleaning. They like to be outdoors with their family and things like that. So I think paid ads, you don't need them to run a company, but especially if you're just getting started and if you're looking to get some more brand awareness, that's an easy way to get your brand out to people's eyes, especially new ones. And then you can move into strategies to start engaging those people and retargeting them, converting them. So I think, especially for businesses trying to get off the ground running, paid ads is almost like a
No-brainer. Yeah.
yeah, no
You gotta
brainer.
go you gotta do it, and I think you can do it. There's a misconception with paid ads that it's a misconception, but it's also very true at the same time because it really depends on that formula that you put into Facebook or Instagram or Yelp or whatever you're using. But for some of these platforms like Facebook, you can get a relatively high reach from $5 a day.
Mhm.
And then you have enough data after a week. So $35 can tell you a good deal about who's clicking on your ad, who's interested. There's so much we could talk about paid ads forever.
Yeah,
There's so
be its
much
own episode.
so much that goes into it. It's like mind numbing. It hurts my brain thinking about it. Like it's the point being is that you can get started for a relatively low amount and that gives you a good amount of data and then just optimizing and refining that process as well.
Yeah, and just while they're a no-brainer, I think we've touched on it on a previous episode, but it just because it's a no-brainer and you will get that data doesn't mean it's going to be an instant success. So just because you paid that $35 doesn't mean you're getting 1,000
Yeah.
customers in a week. We personally do a lot of testing and refining and optimizing, but it's a great place to get started,
Yeah.
and get some data into your customers. But
Mhm.
I just want to give that warning from personal experience
We
that
give to all of our clients.
yeah, it takes
To all of our
time.
clients.
So it's not a perfect process usually. We always hope and cross our fingers
Yeah.
that
Have
one time.
realistic goals,
Realistic
expectations. Yeah.
expectations.
No jinx.
So using those 4 tools, positioning, social media, building up an email list, and running paid ads are the things we would prioritize when starting a new business, but you still might be asking yourself, "Okay, now how do I do it?" So there's really 3 major options here, and obviously it's going to be very situational, but the 3 things that come top of mind to us are doing it yourself, hiring an intern or a very entry level person to take the reins, or outsourcing it to someone like us and just letting them completely take care of it for you.
So, as Kylie mentioned, there are 3 different ways. And so, honestly, we were asked this, and so we'll go over that, but we were asked, how do I do marketing dependent on my budget? So, obviously, each of these 3 options are dependent on that budget. First one being is doing it yourself. because we get it. We do it ourselves. We
Yeah.
do it ourselves too. And so we totally understand that. And we'll go into more about how we actually do it ourselves. But you can pull yourself up, do all your social media, do all your paid ads on your own. And it's a lot of work. You have to schedule in the time. You have to make sure that marketing is a priority, but the real exchange
Mhm.
is your time. So that's like the only, but $0, but it's still your time and time is money. So that keep that in mind. And then with an intern, people are always looking to get their foot in the door in this area. And this is actually what I did. So I started off as an intern on a very small franchise, a mathnasium, and they're still a client to this day, 4 years later. It was a great setup and it was cost effective for my boss, but then also she didn't have to worry about all the other things that go into marketing. She could just solely focus on what it took to run the business. And so with an intern, it can be really helpful once you get all the offloading, you onboard them, you teach them the ropes, you get a really good system in place. That can be an amazing option for someone who can afford the hourly rate of an intern. But again, you can set the hours, you can set the rate. It's more about finding someone who matches that and also matches your values and priorities of an intern. And then lastly is hiring someone like us. We come in and we take over. Not so much the whole like takeover, but we work with our clients and we really become their marketing team. So we found that's really helpful, but it's a bit more on the pricey end because especially with the two of us, there's two of us, and now we have one more full time individual as well. Shout out to Cameron, and we have our intern Danielle. And so we have a team of four really helping us all work together. So it can be a bit more on the pricey end, but if you're established and that's what you want, you don't want to worry about it, that's a good option.
And I feel like a sentiment we hear from a lot of our clients, especially the smaller end who
Mhm.
were trying to do it on their own or maybe have a part-time person is they're ready to make the investment. Especially trying to start it, I feel like on their own and realizing the weight of it.
Mhm.
And then once they see the results, it clicks in their mind of how important marketing is and they realize, okay, it is worth the investment. Because I think a lot of times businesses prioritize marketing pretty low. Like to me, it always feels like the art department at a school, like just the first thing to go. But it's really important and beneficial. And it totally ties in every aspect of the business from sales, even if you're more of a tech company, like the product team, operations, like it's all very intertwined. So I feel like once that clicks in the owner's mind, it just totally makes sense. But obviously, everyone's at different levels and stages. But I feel like once the time is right, they usually are so grateful that we're able to just come in, just give them that extra time back to do the million other things that
Mhm.
they're responsible for and let us own our lane.
Yeah. So if you do decide that you're going to take it on your own, or even if you have an intern as well and you're not necessarily going to outsource it, then everything is really important to have a few systems in place.
Yeah.
And some of those are like automation and making sure that your social strategy and your content calendar is always ready to go and updated and put into a process that really works for you. I'll touch a little bit on the automation piece of it, and then Kylie, if you want to share like how we do our content calendar, because that can be really beneficial for any small business owners or any potential business owners that are listening. So when it comes to automation, the biggest tool we use for automation is a social media scheduler. So we're specifically talking about social media, but there's also email schedulers. There's actually a whole service that automates pretty much your entire business called Zapier. If you're not familiar with it, look it up. It raving reviews. I actually did a little bit of work with them at the agency I worked at before, fun fact. But you can automate these things. So it's really just a set it and forget it.
Mhm.
You might, going back to that investment piece, you probably, instead of investing time, you'll probably have to invest money instead.
Yeah.
So it's a trade off. But when everything is set in place and you can just bulk create content or create 3 emails and send them to go out without thinking about it, what's going to get out there, it can be such a relief. We do that. We have a scheduler for both. And even our clients, we use automation services. And it just saves so much time.
Mhm.
It really does.
And stress and just
Mhm.
anxiety of, "Did I post that? Oh,
Oh my god, I forgot.
I forgot to post it. Now it's 5 p.m. We just move it to tomorrow." Just
Mhm,
so many little headaches can all be solved with one
mhm.
amazing tool. And then when it comes to building out your content calendar, this is actually something we do when we first engage with any client, and we lump it in with this process we call our included components. And so that's really where, and this is something you can totally replicate if you're doing your own marketing, especially for us, since we're coming in, as we've said before, none of our industries match. So typically we're coming in semi-blind to this industry. So we take about a week or two to really dive in and do market research on this client's industry. We look at competitors, what they're doing, language they're using, images they're sharing, as well as trends in the industry as a whole. And then we identify about usually 3 content buckets that the client can use. So typically, I would say in the most bird's eye view there would be about the client, so more like brand awareness. So for Honey and Hive, for example, it would be like about us, meet Kylie, meet Caitlin type of post, just like very about your brand. And then we always love to do entertaining and engaging posts. Those can be a bit more fun. Obviously depends on the brand of how fun we get, but memes, gifs, that sort of thing, things that encourage the audience to comment, share, all of those fun posts. And then the third one is usually like a toss-up. I would say it gets more into what the industry is, but it's always good to have informational posts, value adding, things that will keep bringing your customers in, shareable, savable content. So that's the groundwork we lay when building this content calendar. So then we'll take those 3 content buckets that we've identified and build out a calendar that's really just the schedule of how frequently those different types of content will occur. And then once we have that laid out, then we take it into the actual content calendar, take that schedule we've built out of the types of posts there'll be, and build out the actual posts themselves. And so we usually build content calendars at like monthly or bi-monthly basis, depending on the amount of posts. So if there's a lot going out per week, we'll split the month into 2 halves and conquer it that way. Or if it's a lighter client, then we'll just take a whole look at the whole month in advance, and just make sure, like we said, there's like a diverse range of the different types. You're hitting all your goals in terms of whether if you're trying to sell more products, like hitting a lot more posts that will encourage users to convert, or if it's more brand awareness, sharing a lot more about your brand. So just depending on your goals, making sure you hit posts that will help you achieve those. And then as we've said before, making sure there's consistent branding throughout. So you're going back to that positioning you did and using that language you've identified that's consistent throughout. You're using those colors and fonts that are consistent so your brand just has a nice cohesive feel. And so if you're trying to do this on your own, we actually, as we mentioned with our email list, we have a great resource. So we built out a whole ebook on how to create your own content strategy, how to set up your content calendar. There's fill in the blanks, there's templates. It's really packaged up nicely for you to just take a look at your brand and then build it out into this content. So if you go to our website, it's like the first thing that pops up. You just throw in your email, it gets delivered straight to your inbox, and then you can just go nuts filling in all those bits and pieces about your brand and seeing it come to life on your social feeds afterwards.
And to set the record straight, this sounds like a lot of work to do. And it can be if it's not optimized and you have a good plan in place. So that's why we came up with, going back to setting up a process, making sure you know exactly. The best part about those content buckets are that you can just drop in ideas as they come up into each of those buckets. It stays consistent. And then working on that ebook that Kylie mentioned, it just keeps it all in one place for you. So it's never, oh my God, I haven't posted in 2 months. What am I going to post? I have nothing to post. Wrong. You have lots of stuff to post. Just freaking film yourself doing your business and doing your thing. But that you shouldn't even have that problem ever.
Yeah. I feel like I hear often the opposite of like, I'm posting weekly, like what the heck do I post? Like I'm out of ideas. I've posted everything I can ever post. But
Wrong.
yeah, again, wrong.
Yeah.
There's always more things to
There's
post.
always more things to post. And so like those content buckets will help with that. And then again, going back to that included components part, the research you do before and those competitors that you look at can all serve as inspiration. So ebook,
We've
is the
got you
way to
covered.
go. We've got you covered. So, yes, we use our own methodology as well for our content calendar, for everything to make sure we get the content done. But just like any small business owner, when it comes to running our own marketing, we had to make a decision. Do we outsource it? That's silly, a social media or a marketing management company outsourcing their marketing. But it's true. It's the reality that a lot of people do that because we get it. That's why we're in business, is because it's hard to manage it all on your own. But we ultimately made the decision to manage it on our own. And so we have one of our interns helping us as well through this process. So a little bit about what we do. So when it comes to social media, or when it comes to our marketing in general, we focus on, let's see, social media. We have emails. We were doing blogs for a while, but podcasts, we transitioned, we tested things. We want to test new things. So hence the podcast, we're testing that out, and then using the podcast to create content. So for social media, we do what we do with all of our clients. We create our content calendar, we have our buckets, we have a project management system that we use for all content approval. We use Canva to create all the content, and then Stinger, sure, it could be a Stinger. You don't need to create new content every single time you do content, because right now, like in the moment, we are filming a podcast. What our plans are to do with that is take this video that we're putting on YouTube, we're putting on Spotify, every podcast streaming platform, but then also turn the video into multiple reels. So we're not just using this one piece of content one time, it's a one and done. We're trying to get the most out of our content. And same goes for reels that we're doing or the blogs that we were doing. We were also using them in our emails as well. And now we're doing our podcasts in our emails. So it's all about creating a process and fully utilizing the content. You're already spending time making this great quality content. How can you get the most bang for your buck there? So if I were to break it down, I would say blog at its highest level, or if you don't do a blog, you can start at the next level. But if you're writing a blog, from there, you could have social media posts, email, podcasts as well, and even if you were doing paid ads, we're not doing paid ads right now, you can do paid ads and drive people to your website for more traffic. So that just shows the potential of what a written form of content, but you could even swap that. You can do a podcast like we're doing, turn the transcription into a blog, multiple social media posts, an email, and put the video out on paid ads. There's multiple ways that you can do that. And so that's what we've chosen to do. And that's what we do for a lot of our clients as well, is how can we make it more time effective for them, time effective for us as well. And then just in terms of manage, Asana is the way to go. We use Asana, or just a project management tool. And then when it comes to content creation approvals and things like that, we have all of that listed out in Asana. So if you choose to go down that route of, okay, I want to manage it myself, or this even applies for if you have an intern, because you're going to need to tell that intern, hey, this is what I want to accomplish, this is what we need to do for our content strategy. You just need to have a clear process in place.
So we are starting a new segment on Straight From The Hive called Reddit on Reddit. So basically, we've found these different Reddit channels about small businesses and marketing, where people are asking a lot of great questions. And it made us feel like when the teacher says, if someone has this question in mind, there's probably ask it. We felt as well, if people are online asking these questions to a large group of strangers, there are probably people in our audience and network that are wondering or asking the same things too. So we thought every episode we would feature one of these questions and give our personal takes on it. So Caitlin, can you read today's question for us?
Yes, I will. So the title of the question is, how would I market a small local business? I'm starting a small business, and while it's still small, I'll probably be operating under a food permit that only lets me sell in California and no shipping. My probable clients are specialty food stores and coffee shops, but I don't know how to market my product to them. Is it just a matter of putting together a sales pitch and trying to sell it to individual stores? Okay. This definitely fits our theme
Yes.
of today's podcast and how do you market as a small business. So you want to take it away? What are some of your thoughts?
Sure. So I'm not sure what this person already has going for them, but I think the first step I would take would be to build out a website. So creating a website may sound like a huge, daunting project, and while it certainly can turn into one, there are a lot of easy ways, especially to start it out. So there are very user-friendly website builders such as Wix, where they have templates and drag and drop features where you can easily just build it out, or you could totally outsource it like the other marketing avenues we've talked about today and find a professional. But we usually find that there are only 4 pages you need to a basic website. So just including the homepage, about us, shop, and then contact. And I think having a lot of information about their products as they're a new business and also including some testimonials and social proof. I think like somewhere we started when we built our website and we have clients start out when they're at the ground level is again utilizing that network of people that have used your product or used your service. In this case, someone that's tasted their food that they know can vouch for them. Just so when they're showing up in these keywords and utilizing SEO, as I was about to get into, that people see, okay, it's not just this person vouching for themselves. There are others that are hopefully reputable in this industry that can also give them a good word. And I also want to try out their stuff. What's the first thing that came to your mind when you read this?
I think I'm just a visual person too. And what I would immediately do is just make sure that I had amazing photography. I was showing my products in the best light and then using social media to just establish that digital presence. And then this is a quick and dirty way, but I would just do cold outreach and like experiential marketing is what you could call that, and just articulate what the benefit is. Make sure your positioning is correct and make sure that you're clearly articulating why this product is so important and why it's needed in these specialty stores as well. It's not necessarily marketing, but it is marketing yourself to these salespeople. And so when it comes to building relationships with people as well through this outreach, they're going to go with someone who's enjoyable, personable, knows who they are, knows exactly what they're talking about. So it might not be the best marketing advice, but also people aren't really going to go with businesses who aren't established necessarily. Like maybe they don't have a following or they don't have prior customers before. Because honestly, it's hard to trust people these days, but it is. It can be so hard to be like, I want to take a chance on you. So having that loyal following, especially I believe in this industry where if it's a specific product in a specialty store, fans of that product will go to that store seeking that product. So having that loyal fan base already built up can be really essential, and social media is really a great place to do that.
I think I would also recommend like a search engine ad. I was just thinking more than like a social media ad because I do feel like this is something that people would be seeking out and you're trying to rely on them finding new vendors versus it just popping up on their Facebook feed and keeping it in mind, like more of an actionable item. And I think especially since they have such a targeted audience already in mind that it's really easy to then just look at the research those keywords that they'll be looking for, and like half of the background work of creating those ads is already done if they know exactly who they're trying to reach out to. And then I think once they do start getting some clients, if any of these things work or any of the strategies they find work, having a referral program would also be good, since
awesome.
I feel like, as you were saying, like it's a very relationship based industry. So being able to, again, like use those networks to your advantage, offer a discount, offer a freebie, some sort of something so they feel like they're getting their money's worth, and then you can just build off of their networks and save some time for yourself.
Yeah, so that's what we do. All right. In addition to Read on Reddit, we also asked you all on Instagram a few questions about what you want to hear us speak about. We talked a little bit about this in the beginning, but here we are. We're going to answer some of these questions. So for the first question, we were asked, when you're starting marketing, what is the budget that you need to have, or how can you even do marketing on a budget? So we talked about a few of those. within the episode. So what we thought we would do is give you a range of what's a good budget that you can plan for when starting marketing if you are not going to do it by yourself. I think when it comes to marketing, maybe a good range is about $500 to $2,000. Let me know if you disagree, but 500 really for paying for an intern. It's really the 500 to 2,000 is really just for the labor of it, for lack of a better word. So $500 for an intern, maybe working a couple of hours a week, and depending on the hourly rate. And then 2,000 is if you are a smaller business, paying someone and outsourcing for that marketing. But again, that does not include if you're paying for ads or you're paying for software. Those are all going to be additional costs as well.
And then the other question we received was, what are some resources for small businesses? So I think a great place to start is actually where you guys will be posting your stuff. So looking at social media accounts, if you literally just type in small business, like small business help, small business resources, there are people making all sorts of informational carousels and different types of content, just as we have like our free social media ebook. There's so many other just individuals creating this content, whether it be gated content in terms of like PDFs and different ebooks to fill out, or like I said, literally just carousels that will come up on my own explore page. So I know there's plenty out there if I am not even personally seeking it out and I'm seeing it. So just starting on social media to easily just browse while you're already looking at your feed. TikTok, there's a section of TikTok for everything. So certainly for small businesses, whether it be small business marketing or just establishing your small business, there is definitely a lot of great content on there specifically geared toward that. Like I was saying, just using those hashtags, finding it. And then something I always hear from clients is that joining their chamber of commerce is a really great place to start.
Interesting.
Yeah, especially like local businesses. And so I think that's a great way to get just like local information about things that are available like in your county, city, state. I think especially like I was saying for those maybe more like brick and mortar type businesses that are giving a service or a product and really depending on a local audience. But that's something we haven't tapped into too specifically, but I keep hearing. So there has to be some value if, multiple people are saying that.
And then I would say as like the go-to is YouTube, really. If you have a specific need in mind, I'm thinking more technical, like using platforms and using specific software or social media and how to run that, like paid ads and such, or how to make a listing for your social media or make a listing for your business. YouTube is always a great resource. And then if you have a specific interest in mind, maybe like analytics or ads, again, that specific platform would most likely have its own resources. So Facebook Blueprint is one, Instagram for Creators is another, Twitter Flight School is another one, Hootsuite has a ton of resources, so does HubSpot. Yeah, HubSpot is a big one. And there's so many free articles. Sprout Social, anything social media related, they're always doing their own research. And especially Sprout Social, Hootsuite, they're using their own data. So it's from a pretty reliable source of, okay, these are the trends that we're knowing on Instagram, because they're literally tracking all the analytics from like what day things are being posted or what type of content is doing well, the industries as well as that person. So there's a lot of valuable resources out there from really trusted sources. So,
and if you are looking to start all this on your own to shamelessly self-promote, we have a blog on 10 free marketing certifications you can take. So check out our website for that resource for you.
Great. To summarize, really, this show, we went through the marketing that you need to prioritize when you're starting your small business. What are some of the things that you can take on, or what are some of the things that maybe you should outsource, the budgeting as well. And to plug ourselves again, listening to this podcast, you realize, oh my gosh, like I need help with my small business. Can you help me? We are here for you. We are here for you. Thank you for watching. It's been a pleasure as always, and we'll see you in the next time we go live straight from the hive.
Bye.